Howdy, 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 guys. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Welcome to a Monday evening, April 19th. Man, year's going so fast. It's amazing. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic. I see all my friends out there already. Don, Maud, David, Chickadee. Hey, Chickadee, I know you're on the Cult Show. I haven't watched that episode yet, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Alpha Cat, Meg, Cross Track, Joshy P, Amanda, Angie, all of y'all out here. So glad y'all are here. Truly, I am, especially this particular episode. We'll talk about it in a little bit. It's a long weekend. It's kind of nice to be back talking to my friends out here this evening. Hope y'all are all doing fantastic, enjoying yet another week. So let me start off with I got to do it right. SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all my fellow reality TV fans, Big Brother fans, and such. And I don't want to leave out. I talk to all you guys, and I have a blast interacting back and forth. But for everyone who's coming in after the fact, watching this on replay, thank you and welcome to you as well. I'm not forgetting you. I just don't know what your name is when you come along later, but thank you as well. It's cool. I love doing this show so much. So thanks all of y'all, and welcome aboard. This will be a fun one. I always do notes. There's once or twice where I've just had to come in and said wing it, and I feel like I could do it. I've never had an issue with talking, good or bad. As Christy will tell you in the boat room, yeah, good or bad, I could always talk a little bit. But I try to have little notes, and I've got some this evening. But y'all feel free to jump in if there's anything special y'all want to talk about, because it sure seems like there's a lot going on in the world right now, and we'll talk about some of that. Hope y'all are doing great, though. Let me change my banner so it doesn't cover up too much. It's some of the software, they make it so easy to do these YouTube lives and everything. It's really pretty cool. So anyway, welcome aboard. Let's talk about while we're waiting for a few more people to come in, perhaps. Okay, Don, before going anywhere else, you get to stay for the whole thing tonight because I'm on spring break. Well, congratulations, Don. We talk about all the crazy stuff the last half of the hour, and you missed it every time. So now you get to hear the crazy. Not really. I save all the good stuff or keep all the good stuff in the first half because I know you're watching at that point, Don, and I don't want you to miss anything. But hey, enjoy your spring break, and thanks for watching me even during spring break. That's fantastic. Nathan, Noah, howdy guys. I hope y'all are doing fantastic as well. Thanks for joining in, joining on. I guess it'd be either one, huh? So let's see what else. Let's see. Let's see. Any birthday plans? All right, Ma, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, I got a few plans here. They're nothing fancy. I'm not going down to Cancun and celebrating or doing anything like that. But yeah, I've got a few plans, all involving the families and all that. Joshy says Cliff Notes are the highlight of my Mondays. Well, Joshy, kind of my highlights as well. Now, it's Monday, so it's a pretty low hurdle, right? There's not a lot of good things that people get all excited about on Mondays. But hey, I appreciate the compliment, and it's fun for me too. Always fun. All right, Amanda says we've been watching Serpent per your recommendation. Well, Amanda, if you feel a little creeped out, I apologize, but I did warn you, right? There's just some bad, mean people in this world. People that aren't nearly as empathetic to other people as they should be. But hey, man, it's a big old world, and we got to expect all sorts here in this world. Yeah, watch the Serpent, but be warned that it is every bit creepy as it could be. All right, let's talk a little bit, guys. I start talking, all of a sudden I look at my notes and it's 45 minutes after, and I haven't barely even touched it. So we'll talk a little bit as we go along. First of all, I was talking about today's national whatever and things like that. Well, today, I don't know if it's a good one or not. Today is National Garlic Day. Really? Yeah, I never thought, where's garlic grown? I guess anyone can grow garlic. I've never tried to grow it. Where did it come from? Was there some part of the world where they had garlic? Europe, for example, did they introduce it to the New World? And people are like, oh, wow, that's the most exotic thing I've ever had because it's such a different flavor taste compared to other stuff. Yeah, it's so fantastic in a lot of ways, but you have too much of it, and it's a whole different ballgame. It kind of reminds me, there's a fruit called durian fruit that they have over in Indonesia and Malaysia, the Far East. And it smells so bad that you can't carry it on buses or signs saying no durian on the public transport. It's horrific, but people eat it, and it's when it's ripe, it's a fleshy fruit, and people enjoy it. durian fruit is one of the things that we had to smell as part of that activity in the Big Brother house. And it was actually one of the ones that we actually smelled. I was so excited when I smelled the first trash can, and I said, oh my God, that is durian fruit. I recognize that smell. I know that's what it is. And I thought I was so far ahead of the game of everyone else because I would recognize it and no one else would, and it'd take them a while. Well, I didn't get all of fox urines and things like that, so it didn't help me because I lost anyway. But I knew the smell of durian. But yeah, it was garlic's got to be the same way. Some people really like it, some don't. I got a little story for y'all involving garlic. When Sharon and I first started dating, she was down in Houston. I was over in West Texas working in the oil fields, and we dated just a little bit, but she came out to visit me. And so I wanted to fix her a big fancy dinner at home. You know, my apartment at the time, I said, oh, I'm going to do it. So I was going to do, I think, seafood spaghetti. And I had it all lined up. I cooked the pasta. I had everything going on. Well, one of the ingredients was 3 cloves of garlic, all right, that you mix in. Yeah, it's pasta, it's spaghetti, seems reasonable. I didn't realize that cloves are the little tiny part that you have a big head of garlic. Is that what they call it? Head of garlic? And then you have the little cloves, all little individual pieces of the garlic. I thought that big old piece of garlic you buy in a grocery store that looks like a tennis ball or something. I thought that was 1 clove of garlic. So I got 3 of those things and started chopping those all up and thought, oh my God, this is so much garlic. There's no way this could be correct. But the recipe said use 3 cloves. And being the engineer I am, I always followed the recipes. So I put 1 clove in there and said, not 1 clove, what I thought was 1 clove, a big old thing. And it was so much. Sharon came up. I picked her up from the airport. We tried to have that spaghetti. It was horrible. It was horrible. But the good thing is she was nice about it. She appreciated the effort. We threw that thing away. We went to an Italian restaurant in town and had an amazing Italian dinner instead. And then later she explained to me once she got through laughing that, yeah, clove is just one of those little bitty pieces that's part of the bigger part of the garlic. So, you know, live and learn. I've never done that again. But yeah. Angie's saying, LOL, Cliff, back then you couldn't Google garlic clove. Yeah, I had no idea. Back then we used dictionaries and encyclopedias and everything. So yeah, I had no clue. I thought I had it all figured out. Maybe not so much. So let's see what's this. So anyway, so that's my story. So yeah, I always am careful about garlic since that time. Let's see what else. I'm looking at these comments. I already got so far behind, guys. I'm trying to watch The Circle. Ma says, me too. Season 2. They've already had a few episodes. I'm behind. I'm going to check it out. All right. Angie, I see. Thanks, Chickadee. We're okay. Angie's saying one of the national wireless carriers has been out up in Canada. I didn't know that. I know. You said you're okay, Angie. I know Angie was up in Banff or something. You're out in the middle of nowhere. It looked really fun. Enjoying the outdoors. So I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad it's just the cell phones and things like that. So that's good. I'd hate to find out you're the bottom of a ravine trying to hack out or something. Your own version of Survivor at that point in time. Let's see. What's your opinion on? All right, I'm not going to mention what you said on that, Ma, having to do with Big Brother Canada, because I haven't. I'm so far behind. I feel of all the reality shows that I could get behind on, I feel like Big Brother, even if it's Canada versus US, I feel really guilty that I'm behind on it. But I am. It's just, especially this week, as we'll talk about, some things going on. I didn't have a chance to watch a whole lot of TV, the reality shows, but I'm gonna catch up. And here's the beauty: when you get behind on one of those shows, yeah, it's hard. But then suddenly, when I do have some free time, I can spend an entire day binging those things. And it makes it so much easier to keep track of what was going on. You don't forget anything. You just watch the whole thing from start to finish. Now, I miss out on all the live feeds and everything, but that's just something I'll have to deal with. But yeah, so I'm not going to comment on Big Brother and the latest goings on because I'm trying to avoid them. All right, let's see. Yeah, no, I don't want to hear any spoilers this week, as Don's mentioning. I'm going to try. I see them. And I'm not good enough ignoring all the social media posts and everything. So I'm caught up a little bit, but that's all right. It's you miss a little bit here. It's still all exciting watching how it's happening as it goes on and everything else. All right. With that being said, so National Garlic Day. Let's move on to some other days. On this day in history, and I'm not going to spend forever with it because y'all are probably saying, You talk about it all the time, Cliff. But I think it's cool. Yeah, I'd love to be a history teacher somewhere down the road. That'd be a lot of fun. So with that in mind, 1775, here in the good old United States, in Lexington, we saw the start of the American Revolution. Whole bunch of British soldiers show up. Got a bunch of Minutemen sitting around just thinking that they're just showing up just to wear the uniforms and all that. Suddenly here come the Brits saying, you got to turn in all your weapons and everything. We're tired of y'all messing around with the guns. And the American Minutemen said, well, yeah, we're not going to give you the guns, but we'll leave. And so they all start kind of wandering off and everything. And someone fires a shot. And I guess to this day and age, we never knew. We still don't know if it was one of the Brits that got a little gun trigger happy or it was one of the Americans, but someone fired. Before you know it, there's some dead Americans and some injured British, and the whole thing blows up. And the rest is history, right? Literally, the rest is history. How would it have been different if we hadn't broken away? I don't know, it would have been like Canada, where eventually it would just been a natural separation to some degree. And heck, I don't know. Who knows what would have happened? But anyway, so 1775, the American Revolution started. And as Parker mentions out, yes, in 1995, Timothy McVeigh set off a truck bomb at the federal building in Oklahoma City and injured 500, killed 168, including a whole lot of little kids because there was a kindergarten there or a preschool or something. It's horrible. I was down in Venezuela when that happened, doing some work, and saw a newspaper headline, and I couldn't make out everything it said, but it said bombero, which actually is the Spanish word for fireman. But at the time I thought it was bomb, and just horrific pictures. I thought, oh my gosh, it was, it was before 9/11 and all of that. So back then we couldn't even understand the horrors of homegrown terrorism and some of that. And so anyway, I remember that happening. And right when I got back home after that trip, we actually moved to Oklahoma City. So we got to see a lot of the investigation and how it impacted the city and everything else. So yeah, I've always tried to remember the victims of the federal building. That was a rough one. We also, all right, I'm a Texan, so I'll throw in a little Texas history for y'all guys just as well. I don't want to make this whole episode negative. So we'll talk a little bit here and there. But now, just for those of you who aren't in Texas, who don't know the Texas history quite as well as we're required to, we take a whole, I don't know if other states do that, where we take a whole year of Texas history, and all we learn about is everything that involves us being Texans and how we came about and everything. But on this day, not on this day, on April 21st, so a couple days from now, April 21st at San Jacinto, which is just outside the city of Houston, Sam Houston and his army of Texians had a surprise attack on Santa Ana, heading up the Mexican army. Took 18 minutes to defeat them and killed, 100-something Mexicans. I can't remember how many. But anyway, they gave up. They surrendered. We won. And at that point, they declared that we were independent. We won our freedom, became the Republic of Texas. And so April 21st is kind of our Texas Freedom Celebration Day. So we do that. They have a great recreation at San Jacinto Monument. Every April 21st, they recreate the battle, and they have everyone dressed up, and it's really cool. Now, I don't know if they do it nowadays with COVID. It may be another year or two before we get to see it again. But anyway, so a couple of days early, happy San Jacinto Texas Freedom Day. And finally, one more day in history. And I don't know if this is the most important one or not. I'll leave that up to y'all to decide. But on Saturday, on April 24th, way back in 1965, up in Fort Worth, Texas, I was born. It's pretty important for me, It's going to be my birthday, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I can't remember who asked about birthday plans. We'll stick around here. I did a lot of driving this weekend, so we'll stick around here, but we'll go eat dinner somewhere. I'm thinking there's a Mediterranean/Indian restaurant. They serve a little bit of everything that I've heard good things about. So maybe I'll go up there and go over with the family and just sit down and have a nice long dinner and just enjoy the evening and all that. That'll be the extent of our celebration for my birthday. But I'm looking forward. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So yeah, happy birthday to me. You got to celebrate your own victories and such. So for me, 55, and I've enjoyed every single bit of it. All right. Let's see. What else is going on? Rich Cat Ranch. What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten in the world, and where was it? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, the strangest thing I've ever. All right, it's got to be. Where was that at? Azerbaijan. Yeah, Azerbaijan probably. I think it's where I was eating, and they brought out some of the local delicacies. And one of the things I had was called dough, and I think that's what it's pronounced. It's basically like fermented yogurt and milk. It's not quite as thick as yogurt. It's not quite as thin as milk. It's somewhere in between. And it was a fermented drink, and they said, well, let's order that for you, Cliff. And I said, okay, sure. So they brought it out. It wasn't a little glass. It was like a huge glass of this stuff. And the other guys at the table all started laughing at me that, the American's going to try this stuff. It was okay. It wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever had, but it was all right. Another thing I've eaten. All right, this is maybe by itself not the most horrible, strange thing, but in the environment I was in, it was. I was in Warri, Nigeria, which is it's a place in Nigeria where there's a little bit of oil, and I had to go there, and it's not a very safe place. The driver dropped me off at the hotel on a Saturday and said, do not leave this hotel no matter what you do until Monday morning when a security guard comes by to pick you up. Just stay in the compound. All right, well, whatever I need to do. Well, I apparently was the only person staying in this hotel on that particular weekend because it was, again, kind of dangerous. Not many people would travel to this city. So when it came time for dinner, I had to go down to the restaurant to eat. And now this is one of the reasons I always bring cheese and crackers and Fig Newtons and a few snacks with me, because you never know about your meals. But in this case, there was a restaurant downstairs. So I go downstairs to this restaurant and I look around. There's no one there. No one in this restaurant. Workers, eaters, nothing. But I look around, finally back in the kitchen, I find two guys that are asleep. One guy's the cook, one guy's the waiter. And they just thought there wasn't anyone eating, so whatever. But I wake them up and say, can y'all serve me some food? Yeah. So they give me a menu and bring out everything. And I start looking at them. Well, what? Very strange foods and all that. What can I eat that I'm going to feel comfortable with, not knowing that I necessarily trust the cook who's been sleeping in the back and all of that? So I ended up ordering goat meat pepper soup and then cassava, which it looks like sweet potatoes almost. It's a very yam, starchy kind of thing that you eat over in Nigeria. It's good. It's just like sweet potato something. But I ordered that, and I ordered goat meat pepper soup. And my thinking was this. I don't know that I trust anything about this place where I'm eating. So if the meat isn't perfectly fresh and all of that, at least if there's a lot of pepper mixed in, I won't be able to tell. You think about those things when you're traveling. So I said, all right, give me the goat meat pepper soup. Surely it won't be too horrible. So they bring it out, and I start eating it. And I thought, okay, well, this isn't horrible. It's okay. And then I started thinking about all the goats I'd seen while I was driving into this town. And everywhere I looked, there were big old trash piles and goats sitting up on top of all these trash piles, eating all the trash and everything else on the side of the road. And as I started thinking about all the stuff that this goat had probably eaten before they slaughtered it and fixed it in my meal, I just started thinking more and more that maybe I'm better off with those cheese and crackers upstairs. Maybe I just gonna have to live on Fig Newtons for the next 24 hours. And so finally I said, that's it, guys. I'm through, and called it a day, went upstairs. And that's the last time I went to the, I'll take that. I went back for breakfast, and they said they had sausage and eggs. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Bring it to them. And they brought me out a hard-boiled egg, and they brought me out a weenie like you'd have in a hot dog. I said, all right, well, yeah, that's okay. I've had worse than that. So that was my experience in that city. Very strange environment to be eating in. So I'll just leave it at that. And I kind of wandered on that conversation. But anyway, Brian, rumor has it that the Big Brother 23 air date is June 30th. Move-in date, June 23rd. I can buy that. Our move-in date was June 13th or 14th, if I remember, something like that. So, yeah, I could see maybe a week later than that, a week and a half later. I'm excited. I'm really excited. And here's the thing. They probably don't know for certain. Well, they may know. By now, they probably are getting a better feel for everything in terms of casting and all that. But, yeah, I could see that. It's going to be a great summer to have Big Brother back. And not all stars or anything, I hope. I hope it's all just a bunch of newbies in there. I mean, if they want to get one old guy in as well to bring back, that's fine. But yeah, I expect it's all going to be new players, and it's going to be so much fun. Oh, I'm so happy. I don't know if I'll be doing the evening recaps or not. It just depends on what's going on with life at the time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to another Big Brother. So that'll be fun. All right, let's see what else is going. Cindy, the weirdest movie you've ever seen. Well, Cindy, that's a loaded question because I've seen a lot of weird movies. Let's see, weirdest movie. All right, I'll give you two of them. All right, one that's a little bit older. I think it's David Lynch who did it. Maybe Eraserhead. Weird. I'm not gonna give you the plot. It's just a weird movie. But it's supposed to be very artsy type movie and all that. And I guess it's just a strange movie. I remember Eraserhead. There's a movie called The Lobster, which is all about people who go to a hotel and they have like 30 days to find their partner, their soul partner. And if they don't, they get turned into an animal. This guy's going to get turned into a lobster if he doesn't make it at least 30. I didn't write it. It's just, but that's the plot of it. So yeah, The Lobster is pretty strange. I am sure there are some others that I will think of here momentarily. I'm the king of watching weird, strange movies. My wife gives me a hard time because if it's on TV, it can be the most obscure channel in the world, and I will find it out there, and I will watch it. The stranger, the better, because it's just weird. It probably get you thinking when you watch some of these strange ones. Let's see. What else? Favorite dessert to have on your birthday? Crosstrack says. All right, Crosstrack. First of all, there's not a whole lot of desserts that I'll ever turn my nose up at, but my personal favorite dessert that for my birthday that I've always enjoyed is strawberry cake. I'm a big fan. That was my deal. Strawberry everything growing up. And my brothers all had to have the chocolate milk and all that. Nah, I wanted strawberry milk. When it came to birthdays, I had one brother who couldn't stand cake, so he always got chocolate pie for his birthday. Other brothers would always have chocolate cake. I wanted strawberry cake. And so that's always been my go-to meal. But, you know, another favorite dessert, and I learned to really enjoy this while I was down in South America, was tres leche. It's amazing. I order lots of times when I'll go to a Mexican restaurant somewhere like that. It's just it's a white cake, but it's got milk mixed in with it, and fantastic. But when it comes down to it, strawberry cakes are always going to be my go-to dessert, whether it's my birthday or not. All right, let's see what else as I go through here. Parker, have you ever had colonoscopy? Well, good luck on that, Parker. That's not a lot of fun. I haven't, but I'm sure I will before too long. So good luck on that. I hope it turns out the way it's that you want it to. But probably not going to be your gold star moment of the best day of your life. So just grin, bear it, and make it through. And it's good. I mean, yeah, you got to get checked up. You got to be taken care of, right? So you're doing the right thing. But sounds kind of wrong. Sounds kind of rough. Parker as well. Sunday from Millennials versus Generation X passed away. I think that was Survivor 33, 2016, wasn't it? Yeah, that was. I saw the mention of that was Sunday, and that was hard. I remember her from that season. She was with Brett, and I can't remember who else her alliances were with, but she was one of the Generation Xers on that particular season. One of the older players. I think she was in her mid 40s when she was on that season. So being the age I am, I was cheering for her and her team during that season. And she's a good player. I think she finished out of the 20 players they have, she finished in 7th place. Eventually the other alliance got some control and voted her out and all that. But now it's tough. And you know what's funny? I've met a lot of people either talking on the phone or text messaging, or a few I've met in person as well. Not just from Big Brother, but also Survivor and different things. Yeah, one of the people I've talked to in Survivor a bit that I'm really looking forward to meeting one of these days is Devin. And I've hung out with Russell Hantz, which was interesting as well. So I do know some of the Survivor players. I had not met Sunday before. I'd never talked to her, but I certainly remembered her. And to hear that, it was such a shame. It's so hard. And yeah, you know, anyone. And she was a fighter, man. She was fighting cancer in a lot of different situations, but she fought to the very end, and mad respect to her for that. But anyone who's been on reality TV, I feel like you almost feel a little bit of a connection with the other people who have been through similar experiences. And there's just that little bit of connection. And it's a little bit like people who watch the show. You get invested, and I'm the same way. I watch these shows, and you get so invested in the people's lives who are on there, and so you hear news like that, and it's tough. It's not. It was tough. I hated to hear the news because I'd seen one thing before that she was dealing with some issues, and kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, it's tough. Thoughts and prayers to her family and everything they're having to deal with. But she was one of the good ones, so that was tough. Ma saying, "What is your favorite movie?" And all right, I got a couple of them. Here's I'll give y'all a little bit of an open-ended thing. I like movies where you've got an underdog, like Rocky, the boxer. I love where the underdog comes back, win or lose. The person comes back and they just fight to the very end. They give it everything they have. And with that in mind, two of my favorites, three. I give you three. One is, and probably it's my all-time favorite, is Braveheart. I love Braveheart. Mel Gibson playing William Wallace, and it's not as factual as they would make you. I mean, it's based on a real person and all that, but it's a little bit like King Arthur and all that. We don't know a whole lot of the actual facts, but he plays, a guy whose wife is killed by the English, and he's seeking revenge, and he just gives it everything he can. So I love Braveheart. I love Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Again, another kind of underdog one coming back. And then the final one that I'll throw out there, Pure Country with George Strait, filmed in Fort Worth, and it's all about a country singer who's trying to find his roots and everything. And if you haven't seen that, watch it. There's, it's not winning any Academy Awards or anything like that, but it's a fun movie to watch. And then the final ones I'll throw out there, I love a whole lot of musicals, and I've talked about that on the show before. Jesus Christ Superstar, Paint Your Wagon, West Side Story, Mamma Mia. If it's a musical, I probably have watched it and sung along to every song on the entire soundtrack. So I love all of those. And yes, and my daughter Kelly's mentioning that I also like bizarre TV shows, and I always find those. I'm an expert at finding. In fact, one of these days, maybe I won't do it as Cliff Notes Live. Maybe I will just do it as a straight up other YouTube video. Start going over some of the strange shows that I've watched over the years. It'll be like Mystery Science Fiction Theater 3000. I can find the goofball TV shows or movies and enjoy every bit of it. And I can be a little sarcastic while I'm watching as well. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll find there's nothing like 2:00 on a Thursday night, for example, going out on the TV and finding some of this stuff out here. And so one of my favorites, and I can do it now that you have more access to TV through internet and all that. I love to find other countries' TV shows and watch some of the stuff they do. It's always interesting to watch how other countries treat life in general, crime shows or replicating some of the shows that we've had. And so, yeah, maybe I'll do an episode just on that, because I could talk a lot about those kind of shows. All right, let's see what else going on here, guys. Now we'll get back to it. Yeah, can we not talk about colonoscopies? Ma, I agree with you. We're going to move on to something else. All right. So far behind. My top three is Office Space, Napoleon Dynamite, and Breakfast Club. Mob's saying I like all of those. I haven't seen Napoleon Dynamite in a long while. Vote for Pedro, but something like Breakfast Club, that's my generation. That's my time period. So yeah, absolutely. And Secret of My Success, Brian mentions Michael J. Fox. I used to watch all of his shows. I loved all of that. Dun dun dun. Anyway. All right. Ma could not personally eat slop, would starve. Yeah, Ma, you know what? It's a challenge. Yeah, you do what you do. Eating on Big Brother and eating slop, nothing compared to what we got on the challenge. I don't know if y'all are watching the challenge, but I did my little recap last week. If you haven't watched it, watch it, because I had fun talking about that one, because I had an eating competition. And these guys, if you haven't watched last week's episode and you want to and you don't want to be spoiled, give me about 2 minutes and then come back on, okay? Because I got to talk about it. I normally don't do spoilers, but they had to eat the most disgusting food. They had to eat sheep's hearts, fish eyes, sheep's face. And what's sheep's face? Just the skin that covers their face. Pull that thing off and go to town. And ram's testicles. And to finish it all off, because that's not bad enough, right? To finish it all off, then they had to drink a liter of blood. Human blood, seal blood, cow blood, They didn't tell us. That wouldn't make me feel any better at all. So they're having to eat this. I don't think anyone's keeping it down. You're just eating it, throwing it up, eating it, throwing it up. It's most disgusting. It looks like talking about weird movies. It looks like a zombie flick, the way they've got stuff all over everywhere. So yeah, after watching that, I'm thinking, yeah, slop in the Big Brother house maybe wasn't too bad compared to what they're having to do. Of course, they're playing for $900. The winning team gets $900,000, $450,000 a person. So they got a little more money overall in the prize pool of the challenges compared to what we had in Big Brother. And if they brought out all that stuff in Big Brother, if that final veto competition where Mickey won and sent me home, if they'd had all that out and said, hey, this is going to be the difference to whether you make final 3 or you go home, I would have eaten every bit of it. Man, my face would have turned green. You would have seen some whole different reactions from me while I'm eating that, but I would have eaten every bit of it and done it with a smile on my face. Amanda's saying I need to try out for Jeopardy. Well, thank you, Amanda. There are times where I watch Jeopardy and I think I could do this. I get like 7 or 8 questions in a row, and Sharon's watching it. She said, well, how do you know that? I don't know. I just pick it up. And I get really full of myself and really thinking I could do fantastic on that show. And then suddenly they come up with another category of 16th century Italian operas or favorite Shakespeare sonnets or something like that. And I'm like, good luck on that, guys. And then I picture in my head this mental image of me doing Jeopardy. And I get through the whole first round and they're saying, Cliff, is your microphone working? Because we haven't heard from you yet. And I'd be sitting there saying, yeah, but I didn't get any wrong. I got $0. But if I'd tried to answer any of those questions, I would have been a negative dollars anyway. So yeah, I'd love to do it. I think I'd run hot and cold on those. Some categories you think, hey, that guy, he's right over there, Ken Jennings. He is an amazing Jeopardy trivia player. And then I'd turn right around, I'd wager it all, lose it all on the next category. Yeah, it'd be fun though. I'd have a blast doing it. Let's see. If Ma and I are in the same season of Big Brother, Don's saying, would you divide your votes for America's Favorite between us? Well, I don't know. It depends. It depends on who I thought was playing the best game when it came. If I got 2 friends I'm both cheering for, I don't want to split my votes. If I do that, then neither one of y'all are going to win. So unfortunately, one or the other is going to have to get my full attention when it comes to voting. But I'll do everything to make sure that person wins, right? Chicky D saying, Michael J. Fox gave me my high school diploma. Well, now that's pretty cool. I didn't have anyone fancy give me my high school diploma. I think I just had some old assistant principal give me mine. That's pretty neat. I'm trying to think if I even had met any celebrities when I was in high school. I don't think so. Now, I went to high school with a girl named Gretchen Paul Hemus, who ended up winning Ms. USA 1989. So that's pretty cool. I went to school with her from grade school on up. So she was our celebrity in high school forever. The next time I go back to a high school reunion, I guess it's going to be her and me are going to be the 2 celebrities that are showing up. So that'll be kind. I don't spend a lot of time going to high school reunions. I've never done that in the past, but maybe I will now, just to show off a little bit. I'll walk in there and say, SKD 143, I'm here, guys, and they're all gonna look at me and say, we don't watch that show. We have no clue what you're talking about, Cliff. And that'll knock me down a notch or two. So Everglow, your mom loved me on Big Brother 21. Well, thank you, Everglow. I appreciate that. Tell your mom howdy from me. I had a lot of fun on that show. It was amazing. It is so cool when people come say, oh, we were cheered for you on that show and all of that. And so thank you. I always appreciate all the support I got in there. It was an incredible experience. All right, let's see. Went to college with one of the founders of Wegmans, Moss saying, we don't have Wegmans down here, but that's pretty cool anyway. All right, let's see what else is going on. All right, now, I don't want to turn this negative, so I'm just going to talk about it for just a second because it plays into some of the other things I was going to talk about. I mentioned that this week was a little tough, a little busy. I didn't have time to get on to the Big Brother Canada or catch up on a circle or anything like that. And the reason being, unfortunately, my father-in-law passed away last week. And he lived here in Houston, just down the road from us. But after he passed away, the funeral was up in Arkansas to be buried next to his wife, who died 4 years ago or so, something like that. And so most of our weekend was spent gathering everything up, driving up to Arkansas, doing the funeral ceremony and then coming back yesterday. So we put in a whole lot of driving over the last 72 hours or so. It was yeah, thank you, Angie. I appreciate the sentiment. It was yeah, it was rough. He was 85 years old, so he's a man who lived a long and fulfilling life, and 85. That seems okay, right? So, but no, thank you very much for the sentiments. It was interesting. We did the funeral, and my daughter went up there with us. My son and his fiance drove over from Austin, so we had extended family, but maybe just as important, we had my immediate family, and it was great for us all to be together, and we had a chance to have a meal or two together and just touch bases with everyone, which is so nice because our abilities to do that have been so limited over the past year or so with COVID. So it was nice to have the whole family there and have everyone there kind of supporting, sharing it as we did that. So there you go. And again, I don't want to spend the whole hour talking about that in down note, but I did want to talk about that because with so much driving, I put the odometer on the car when I drove. And by the time we got back to Houston after a weekend of driving, I'd put like 1,091 miles worth of driving behind the wheel. It's a lot of driving. And here's the amazing part. Yes, the funeral was in Arkansas, but it's just across the border from Texas. So of those 1,091 miles, all but about 100 miles were here in the state of Texas. This is a big old state. You can drive a long way before you actually cross a border. And I'd put in a lot of the windshield hours. And here in Texas, we got big old wide open highways and all that. And I've always been used to speed limits that, they're suggestions rather than requirements a lot of time. And most of the speed limits here are about 75 or so on the interstates. So I got in my car, I put my cruise control on, 78, 79, somewhere just a little above the speed limit. And you would think I was sitting still the way these cars were passing me. I am not kidding you. I have never seen people driving so fast. There were cars. At one point, I was going just a little faster than that. And there were cars still passing me. There had to be cars going 100 miles an hour back and forth on these freeways and interstates. And I don't know if it's just because we've all been trapped inside houses for so long with quarantines and all that once people get in the car behind the wheel, they say, forget that. I'm enjoying my freedom. I'm enjoying every bit of it because they flew. I've in all my years of driving, and I drove out in West Texas where there was a whole lot of road with not a whole lot in between the cities, and people went a little fast. And I've been down in Venezuela where there's no such thing as speed limits. Your speed limit's whatever speed you can go before your car just becomes a flying vehicle instead of touching the road. But with all that being said, I've never sat behind a wheel and thought I'd seen so many cars going so fast. It's amazing. It really is. I didn't see accidents. I think as long as everyone's going about the same speed, it actually isn't that much worse. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. Am I going to be the guy in another 20 years? I'm going to be in the left-hand road, left-hand lane going 55. These crazy guys, they're going 70 miles an hour. What are they thinking? I don't think so. But that was, I don't think there's any way I'll do that. I'll drive what's appropriate for the conditions. We'll put it like that. It rained on us as well. It's not even as though these cars are just driving and it's nice and sunny. We had times where it's raining on us and everything else, and they're still just flying by. Maybe the cars are just getting motors and everything and safety standards, everything just keep ramping up more and more, and people feel more comfortable going at faster speeds. But it was fun. I mean, it's fun because then I don't have to worry about getting a speeding ticket because I know other people are going to get the tickets, and I can just sit back and go up my speed, cruise control on, not worry about it at all. So, all right, let's see what else. So that was a lot of time behind the wheel. Now, here's what's interesting as well. We drive Lyres where you don't have radio stations or everything else. So I had my phone and my Spotify, and I was playing all my music, and Kelly was in the car with us. Kelly got to listen to my playlist. And I got to say, even though she's different generation than I am, I think, and maybe Kelly can comment as well if she's still out here, I feel like I'm a little bit in tune with some of the music that gets played. I have a wide variety of taste. And so she got to hear a little Billie Eilish and some other newer music that just like when I was in the Big Brother house. I wasn't listening to all the stuff from the 70s and everything. I actually picked up on some of the newer stuff. So we got to listen to the playlist a little bit. And when I didn't have cell phone service and I had satellite radio, we listened to some different stuff as well. So, yeah, a good chance to listen to a lot of music. And I sung away all the way through. Now, she may have liked my playlist. I don't think she appreciated my singing quite as much as we went along. Singing in the car is a little bit like singing in the shower, right? You don't have to be good, especially when you're driving 80 miles an hour and it's kind of loud. You can sing pretty loud, and it all sounds good when you're driving in a car. And Don saying, Kelly H is my lovely favorite daughter. Yeah, Kelly and Daniel are my kids. Kelly's the K in SKD, Daniel's the D in SKD, and then Sharon obviously is the S in SKD. There was a rhyme and reason to that little saying. Who's that? Amanda saying interstates these days terrify me. All right. I got to mention one of my favorite film clips. We were talking earlier about favorite movies and all of that. I know y'all have seen it, even though it may be a little before some of y'all's time, but not by much. Clueless. There is a scene from Clueless where a bunch of them accidentally get on a freeway while they're learning how to drive, and screaming and hollering as 18-wheelers are bearing down on them. Motorcyclists are coming around, and little old ladies are leaning out the window shouting at them because they're not driving. It's just an amazing clip watching the terror on these kids' faces as they're trying to drive on the interstate for the first time. Because I remember that. I remember when I was 16 and taking driver's lessons and worried about every intersection I went through, worried about driving high speeds on the interstate and everything. Then I did it again when I was in the UK and suddenly having to figure out how to drive on the left side of the road and handle roundabouts and everything that they do over there. But yeah, if you haven't watched Clueless, watch it. That's one of my guilty pleasures. So there you go. Meg is saying that a Texas highway has 85 miles per hour, but still just a suggestion. Yeah, some of the highways, they keep ramping it up more and more. I know over in Austin, some of those, especially, they've got one or two toll road kind of things that you pay to get on, and those speeds, because they justify it by saying there's limited entrances and exits, and it is out in the middle of nowhere. So you're paying the speed. You get on those things, you're flying like a bullet. I kind of like it. It's not a bad way to travel, because otherwise you're just gonna. Texas is so big. We always laugh that when we travel here, we don't talk about miles. It's not 30 miles up the road. We say, yeah, it's 2 hours away. It's 4 hours away. I know when we used to live out in West Texas, we'd come home to visit. It's 10 hours each way. It's a long time to drive, especially when you just have a weekend to do it. But yeah, so it's a 10-hour drive to get over there. All right, let's see. Don, seen my mom in chat before, and now see Cliff's daughter. Yeah, they support me, and Daniel comes out here as well. And Sharon's always sitting over watching this also. So yeah, I always worry my mom comes out here and I tell a few stories from back in the old days, and she remembers most of those stories as well. All right, Ma saying been to Cliff Stream since the second one. Technically showed up first one, but I show up 9 instead of 8. So he's signing off. Well, that's the beauty, is I record all these things so you can always watch it later. All right. Jake saying I was 7 when Clueless came out. Hey, Jake, when Clueless came out in 95, great movie. I like it. It's, 95. That doesn't seem like it's that old a movie, but I guess so. All right. What else is going on? All right. So we talked about the driving. That was amazing. What else is going on? And here's did y'all know the Mars helicopter took off today? Is that not cool? I'm not going to talk a lot about space because I've done it so many times, but that helicopter actually took off, went up about 30 feet, hovered around for a little while, came back down. It wasn't anything too fancy. I discovered, though, that they took a very small piece of the Wright brothers airplane from back in, 1917 or whatever. They took a very small piece. I think it was before that. Took a very small piece of that and attached it to this helicopter. So a little small piece of the Wright brothers plane actually flew on the helicopter that flew on Mars. How cool is that? And did y'all also realize the oldest person alive here in the United States was alive when the Wright brothers made their very first airplane flight back in 1911 or now? I don't know when it was, but back a long time ago. Was alive for that and is also alive to watch a helicopter flying on Mars. Talking about two very different parts of technology, levels of technology in this country. So yeah, it was cool that they did that. So now we figured out that we can fly on another planet. Angie and some others have talked about skydiving and all I can think is how long after we colonize Mars are we going to have the first skydiver jumping out of an airplane or a spaceship, I guess, on Mars, jumping out of a spaceship and parachuting to Earth or parachuting to Mars just to say they're the first one that did it. That'd be a lot of fun. Now, there's not much atmosphere, so you'd have to have a parachute that covers like an entire football field. That may make it a little interesting as well. But on the other hand, there's not as much gravity as well. So if you hit hard, I guess you bounce a little more, right? So I don't know. I'm excited about what our future is going to bring. So props up to the Mars helicopter. I picture some guy sitting back here on Earth with a little controller trying to figure out as he's flying it around. And I know that's not the way it happens, but that's the way I like to imagine it. So we had that. Now I got to tell y'all a story. Let me look at the comments real quick because I've been just going on and on. Have I ever seen a UFO? Rich Cat Ranch is saying. I don't think so, but maybe. I know out in West Texas once we were on a drilling rig, middle of the night. It's so cool out there. I look up, you see the whole Milky Way because there's no cities within 2 or 3 hours of where you're at. So it's just the most beautiful, amazing sceneries. In fact, Davis Observatory is a big observatory we have out there because the skies are so clear. So I'm looking up, watching the stars and everything, and all of a sudden I see the brightest green light just coming right towards us, and it's just floating up in the sky. It's staying up there forever. Eventually it goes out. And I thought, oh my God, there's an alien. Get ready. I'm going to have to go do my hand signs or whatever, and welcome to Earth, my friends, and I'll be your representative for your visit today. But then later I found out it was some Russian satellite that crashed to Earth and flew right overhead, and that's all it was. Which is still pretty cool. I've seen fireballs before in the sky that were big, bright things that got my attention. Not like a falling star, but big, bright objects that came through. I've seen those once or twice. That was pretty neat. UFOs. Now I can't say I've seen any for certain. I've always thought though, if I saw a UFO and someone pops up and they look like ET or whatever, I'm gonna try to be friendly. I'd get on that spaceship with them. Yeah, I'm always up for a new adventure. I'd get on there and fly around and give them whatever information they needed and all of that, and hopefully they'd put me back on Earth once they got done with it. But yeah, I've never seen any. Do I believe in UFOs? I don't know. I think that there's no way that we're the only intelligent life in this universe. I think there's more out there. I just don't know if they'd be interested enough to come find us, and it'd be like finding a needle in a haystack. If they're over on the far side of the universe and we're sitting over here, yeah, they could be the most intelligent race in all of the universe. There could be hundreds of races like that. They still may not find us because the universe is so big. But who knows? So I believe they're out there. I just don't know if they've necessarily found us yet. All right, what else? I had a story from last week that I wanted to tell y'all, and I just ran out of time, as I often do. But I don't know if any of y'all are golf fans. I had to do it because of the background, right? Golf course, in case you didn't notice, Augusta, the Masters golf tournament. I play golf. I'm not one of these guys that goes out every weekend and plays and everything. I just don't have time for it. But I played golf. As a kid, I played, and I still play. So they had the Masters last weekend, and it's one of the few that we actually watch. And Hideki Matsuyama is the guy who won it. He's from Japan. He's the first Japanese person who's ever won the Masters, and he was leading by a whole lot. At the end, it got a little closer, but he still won the whole thing. So congratulations to him for that. That was pretty neat. But it's so much fun watching golfers compete on this course because it's such a beautiful course. And what I didn't realize until just a year or two ago is to get tickets to see the Masters, people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get in and see it, which means that I will never see a Masters tournament in person, because if I have a ticket and someone comes up and says, you can sit out here for the next 5 hours and watch golf, or I'll pay you $3,000 and you can go watch at home on TV. I'm taking it every day of the week. Yeah, that's just me. I can't think of any, I can't think of any sporting events where I wouldn't take the money over the experience if it's that much money. Maybe if my Aggies are ever playing national football champions, college championships, maybe, but that's a lot of money. So I'll probably never see it in person, but it's a lot of fun watching these golfers compete. But as I was watching it, I thought of 2 golf stories, and I wanted to tell y'all because I tell all my stories out here, and I never can remember if maybe some of them I've told before. Some of y'all are probably watching this thinking, oh my God, he's telling that story again. But at least that, it's true when I just keep saying them over and over, right? But I wanted to tell y'all a couple of golf stories because I did have a fun couple of them. Crosstrack is a professional you are a professional mini golf putt. Now that's pretty cool, Crosstrack, because there was a time in my early life where I thought that I could do the same thing and that I would be very good at it. We had the putt down the street from us, and they used to have like $5 Saturdays. You'd pay $5 and you could get out there and you could play all day long in these courses, and we would play all day long. And I got to say, being the engineer that I am, I can sit there and line up an angle and figure out some velocities and things like that. And they would always have the low score for that course, and it'd always be like 18 holes. The low score would be like a 21 or something. I always think, I think I could do that. So there was a time where I thought that I maybe could be a putt professional as well. Well, get the orange jacket and be a champion with it. But it didn't turn out. I went on a different way. So with that in mind, let me tell you some other golf stories. First of all, I started playing golf like junior high school or so. My brother, Robert, and myself, and a guy named Tony, a friend of ours, found a golf course down the road a little bit that was like a par 3, which just means they're shorter holes that you can play. And for like $2, you could rent golf clubs. For $3, you could play on the course. So for $5, we could play, I don't know, all afternoon or something. It was a pretty cheap way to play golf and to learn how to play the game. But even at that, we didn't always have enough money to really cover that and some snacks and things like that. So we figured it out. The first time we played, we all lost some balls in the little river that went through the middle of this course. And we saw other people losing their balls as well. So we figured out that we could have a little side business of going into that river and gathering up all these golf balls and selling the golf balls to other people who were playing. Because the main people who are playing on this little smaller golf course were younger kids like myself and older guys who didn't want to walk long distances, retired guys and things like that. And so we went into the river and we just started feeling around with our feet and everything. And we would find a dozen or so golf balls each. We'd gather them up. We'd dry them off. We'd go to some of the older guys that were playing the course and say, hey, do y'all want to buy these for, a quarter each or whatever? And they'd always say, yeah. And they'd buy them. So they'd pay us $3 or $4. And then we'd go back and get more golf balls. And it was great at first, until one time we got into a part of the river, part of this little pond area that was kind of shady. And it was a hot day. So we said, well, let's stay in the shade while we're looking for these golf balls, which worked out well, except for the fact we didn't realize that it's not just humans who like the shade. You know who else likes shady, still water? Leeches. A whole bunch of leeches. And so we're looking for the balls and everything. All of a sudden, my buddy Tony steps out of the water, and we look down his leg, and he's got things all over his legs. And we thought they were mud until he tried to wipe them off. They weren't mud. They were leeches. They were attached to his leg. That disgusted us quick enough. We both hop out of the water, my brother and I as well, and we all have leeches all over our legs. And we're not happy about that at all. I kind of like the blood staying inside my system as opposed to, someone sucking it out and moving on somewhere down the road. So the only good thing is most of them hadn't actually attached themselves, so we grabbed them, threw them off. There were a few that you had to kind of pull off, and you know what? Suddenly those golf balls didn't seem like it was worth getting in there for a quarter each and finding those golf balls. So we gave up on the golf ball business real quick and just figured out other ways to make money to pay for playing golf. I sold light bulbs door to door, some things like that. Delivered circulars of the advertisements on doors to make a little money. But that was the end of my career of a golf ball retriever after I discovered that I really didn't like leeches one bit. So there you go. That's my first golf story. All right, 7:56. I'll tell you another one before we maybe move on to some other things really quick. So another story. This is playing golf. This is when I was in college. And I had worked for a company out in West Texas in the oil field. I was back in school trying to get an engineering degree. And we had a big golf tournament, brought in all these sponsor companies and all of that. Well, one of the people who had been my boss out in West Texas came back to compete in this tournament. And I was so nervous because I wasn't a very good golfer. I wasn't bad. I wasn't a great golfer, though. And I thought, man, I'm going to have to play golf in front of all these guys who play golf all the time. They're salesmen. They do it for a living. I do not want to embarrass myself. I could picture myself on the first hole or two swinging and missing the ball or hitting it horribly and just people laughing at me. And so I spent this entire week before the tournament so paranoid and nervous thinking I wish I could just get sick or do something so I don't have to play in this tournament because I don't want to embarrass myself. Well, before we actually started playing golf, we had a little luncheon and everyone did a little drinking and things like that. And my boss out in West Texas, who I wanted to impress so much, probably drank a little more than the rest of us. And we get up to the very first hole where we're hitting the ball. And the tee box where you hit the ball from is a raised tee box. It was about 10 feet up. You had to kind of walk up this little hill. And then there was a flat area at the top where you put your ball down and you hit the ball. So this guy, and I'm not going to give you his name for reasons you'll soon discover, he walks up to the top of this tee box, not walking up easily because he had a little too much to drink. He lines the ball up. He swings. He tries to hit the ball so hard, and doesn't have the best balance because of what he's been doing for lunch and all that. He swings so hard, he comes all the way around. He misses the ball. His feet get tangled up with each other. He falls backwards and rolls 10 feet down the hill with the ball still sitting on a tee at the top. And he's laying at the base of the hill, almost gave himself a concussion, and laying there, and everyone's sitting there laughing and just thinking that's the most hilarious thing in the world. And after that, I didn't care how I played golf. It was such a great relief because I knew that no matter what happened, no matter how badly I hit the ball for the next 18 holes, no one was going to talk about it. They were all going to talk about this other guy who swung and missed the ball and rolled down the hill because he drank too much before he got there to play golf. So there you go. This is the most carefree golf tournament I ever competed in because no one cared. And as a result, I played great. I hit the ball perfect every time because I didn't have the tension. I didn't have all the stress built up in me. So just a lesson to you. Sometimes stress interferes with what you're trying to do. And if you can just figure out a way to chill out a little bit and get a little more relaxed, and do whatever you have to do ahead of time, it makes it that much easier. All right, guys. Yeah, you could duplicate the drop and roll if you want to. Now, I wish back in the day we didn't have the cell phones. If I had a cell phone, it could have gone viral. I would have been a TikTok star or whatever because I would have had a million hits watching this guy try to hit the golf ball. But that was before that time. Back then, I had to have a big old VCR camera that would have been about this big, and that didn't fit in with the golf course at all. So, yeah, one of the more funny things I've ever done in terms of playing golf. And since then, I play like once a year if someone invites me to. But I don't know. I've got family and jobs and reality TV and everything else I get involved with instead. So we've got that. All right, guys. Time flies, right? It's 8 o'clock, so I think we're going to shut down. I have a few little stories, but nothing too much. We talked about Sunday. We talked about the challenge. We talked about the circle, and I do want to watch season 2. One more for you. Big Brother Australia starts next Monday. Monday night their time, which is like Monday morning our time. So it'll actually come on before I do my show. I don't know exactly how I'm going to find it to watch it. I have to go find it on the computer and it'll show up on YouTube or something. There's different ways. Do some Google searching if you want to watch Big Brother Australia, but I'm going to try to catch that as well. So, all right, guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday, and hug your family, hug your friends, and enjoy being with them. Have a great week. I will see y'all next Monday. Wednesday, we had part 1 of the final of the challenge. Wednesday will be part 2. I don't know if it's the final episode. We may have one more after that, but it's getting exciting. And we got Fessy and KC are still in there, and Amber. So we got 3 Big Brother people still in the challenge. I'll drop a recap of that a day or so after the episode premieres, but that's going to be Wednesday night. Guys, y'all have a great one. I'll see y'all next Monday. SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all. Have a fantastic week, and hey, cheers. Cheers, my friends. We'll see y'all later. Bye.